Lemonada.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
Hello and welcome to Happier, a podcast where we talk about how to make our lives happier. This week we'll talk about why it's so helpful actually to search for a solution and why leaving your laptop charger behind can boost your productivity. I'm Gretchen Rubin, a writer who studies happiness, good habits, human nature. I'm in my little home office in New York City, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my sister Elizabeth Kraft, my sister the Sage.
That's me, Elizabeth Kraft, a TV writer and producer living in LA. And Gretch, I am never without a charger, so This will be interesting.
Before we jump in, we have a few updates. First comes from Cadence, who said, I wanted to share how I started my book club, because, we all love reading. I moved from Boston to Colorado and bought our first house in 2015. It was surprising to me that none of my new neighbors came over to introduce themselves and welcome us to the neighborhood. I had been looking forward to knowing my neighbors, and I love reading, so I decided to start a neighborhood book club. I made a post on the Nextdoor app telling a little bit about myself and the kind of book that I like to read, which are varied, but I noted some of my favorites and suggested a book club meeting at my house, at least for the first time, and then we could discuss how we wanted to go from there. I was pleasantly surprised, but also a bit overwhelmed that 47 people replied that they were interested. When the day came, only 4 showed up, which was actually a relief. 10 years later, the 4 of us continue to meet every 6 weeks, and it is always a highlight for me. 2 people have moved out of the neighborhood, but to your point, the farthest one is about 30 minutes away, and we rotate who hosts. Whoever is hosting next is the one who picks the book. I'm so glad I put myself out there to make the invitation post and did not allow myself to feel any disappointment that more people didn't come to that first meeting. So great.
Yes, and that's the whole neighborhood idea that I keep saying I'm going to do in Encino.
Yes. But a few things I would point out. One of the things I always say with my book groups is whoever comes is the right number. There's never too few. If it's you and one other person, that is fine. And often you always end up thinking like, this is the right number. This is the best number. And even though all 47 people didn't show up, I bet she still did make a connection with them. If what you really want to do is introduce yourself to a neighborhood, and then it gives you something to talk about, it's an icebreaker, it's a conversation starter. So even though you're like, well, we didn't have 40 people in our book club, it was still a big success. And she has this really tight, consistent book club. So I think that that's wonderful. And it's just a good example of it can feel awkward to put yourself out there, but the rewards are so great. And usually people respond very well. Maybe they kind of overestimated how much they would be able to show up, but they reciprocated your gesture. So that shows that they welcomed it. So it can feel awkward to do it, but usually people receive it very well. So that can be comforting if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, is this like a cringy thing to do? It's like, no, people like it.
Yes. And then, Gretch, we got this about obliger accountability. She says, I know you often compile tips on how obligers create accountability, and this year I've been my most consistent with my habits yet since I've started using AI. Like most people, I do have mixed feelings about AI, but I cannot deny how much of a game changer it has been when tracking and reviewing my habits. I have very ambitious health and professional goals for 2026, and after breaking down my goals into manageable tasks and adding them to my calendar, I've informed the AI tool I use of what my goals and timelines are. I've also booked a weekly check-in meeting with myself on a Sunday. This is where I review the week and input all this feedback into the AI tool. It has served as a source of accountability because I feel like it's waiting for my updates each Sunday. And it creates a summary of my progress week on week, which is highly motivating, what went well and what I need to focus on for the week ahead. It has been surprising how well it's working for me, and I thought I'd share with you. Well, that's interesting, Gretch. AI as an accountability partner.
Well, and I would point out that obligers vary dramatically in what kinds of accountability work for them. And so this is really great to hear from Vera that this works really well for her. Sounds like it's working really well for her. I will note that some obligers would not find this kind of accountability to be useful because I was talking to an obliger friend and he said that wouldn't work for me because I know that in the end, it's not real accountability.
Right.
So it's the kind of thing where if it works for you, that is great. This is a new tool, but no tool fits every hand. So if this doesn't work for you, there's plenty of other ways to create outer accountability. And we should just say, like, there are many, many bad things about AI, which we all know, but it's nice when there's something good. And it seems like this is something that's working really well for Vera.
Yes.
So now for the try this at home. Okay. This falls into the category of this is so obvious, doesn't need to be said, but yes, I think it is a really helpful thing to keep in mind, which is to actually search for a solution if you face a problem.
Yes. So this is one of our practical
Yes.
try this at homes, I would say.
Yes.
Explain.
This is not transcendent. This is not a deep insight to human nature. This is just like an obvious insight into human nature. Okay. So what I realize is a lot of times I'll be suffering from a problem or an annoyance, and it just won't occur to me that there could be a solution to it. You think, this is so idiosyncratic. This is so minor. There's no way that somebody has tackled this. Well, I have often been surprised at how random and seemingly inconsequential problems actually have very well-developed solutions. And my favorite example of this is the armrest cover on a desk chair. Okay. I think I've talked about this before, but years ago, I have this very nice desk chair that's all fancy. And over time, the armrest had become cracked and the fake leather or whatever that material is was like peeling off. It was super ugly. And I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to have to like wheel this thing across New York City to get it recovered? Am I going to have to like put up with this forever or else like get rid of the whole chair, which obviously would be a ridiculous thing to do, like a whole nice chair just because these little patches. But it was really bothering me. It was scratching my elbows and it looked terrible. And then somebody told me, oh, you can buy armrest covers because turns out I'm not the only one who experiences this. You just buy these things. They just slip on almost like a big no-show sock. They're like that shape and you just stick them on your armrest and they just cover your armrest. And the funny thing, Elizabeth, is you had the same problem.
Exact same problem. Yes. And when you sent me these, I was so thrilled. And they work beautifully to this day.
And the funny thing was, I think Adam, for some incredible serendipity, had bought you the same thing the same week.
Yes. So I actually used both of them. So they're very padded, which is nice.
Oh, that's funny. That's very funny. Okay, so here's the thing that happened that really got me thinking about this. So I just had this very fun weekend with 4 of my friends from high school. We get together every few years for a long weekend. It's always incredibly super fun. And we got to talking one night about this thing, like what are these little silly solutions? And my friend told me about something called face washing wristbands. It's a microfiber fabric. It's kind of like a scrunchie, really, like a thick scrunchie or like a thick sweatband. If you have wrist sweatbands, which I don't have since I don't do anything like that, and you just slip them over your wrist. And what they're for is if you're washing your face and you're putting water up and it slides down and it gets onto your pajamas or your shirt or whatever, because it will slide down your elbow and it just feels like it gets everywhere. I actually have a kind of, I forgot the name of it, but it comes in a tub and it's waterless face wash so that you can remove your makeup without using water. And I use that, but then in the end, I always do sort of just want to wash my face. And it was really annoying. I would have this whole thing where I would like jamming my pajamas sleeves up high and they were always getting drippy. And so when she showed me these, I was like, okay, this is something that I need. It is so silly. It is so minor. And yet I predict that I will use this every single day for the rest of my life.
Well,
do other people have this problem? Yes, they do.
Yes.
Who knew there was a solution?
Gretch, this is something I deal with every morning and night of my life.
Oh, yeah.
It never occurred to me there was something for it. So I got to look these up because...
You've got a birthday coming up, so hold off.
Okay. I always like try to push my robe sleeves up high enough
And they won't stay.
and they won't stay. Exactly.
No, they flop down, they get in the water. It's a big thing. And again, this is so silly and so minor, and yet it is the kind of thing that is annoying. Okay, here's another example. I did a collaboration with Cass Arson, also known as Clutterbug. She has a framework where she divides people into 4 types based on how they like to organize things, which of course I love. And we collaborated on doing a 3-day makeover of a woman named Chloe. And we just released a video of this, and I love nothing more than a before and after, so I love this video. One of the things when we were looking at sort of the before, because this was a before and after, Chloe and her husband, they have 2 little kids and they had shoes everywhere, like a giant thing of shoes by the front door, which is so, so common. And Cass showed me these cabinets. The ones that she likes are from IKEA, and they're so narrow. They're like 5 inches deep. Then they're flat, and you pull the shelf out and it kind of pops out, and then you can slide your shoes in. And it holds so much. It's sort of a visual puzzle because you think that much couldn't fit into that cabinet, but the way that it's designed. And these cabinets are very, very narrow. So even if you have a very narrow hallway or you want to put it in a room, but you don't want to squash the room with some big chest of drawers, they're made for shoes, but a lot of people put other things in there. Like you could put papers in there if you had a lot of papers and you didn't want to have a filing cabinet. Anyway, I had never seen a piece of furniture in this shape. And I thought, if this is a problem that you have, this is a very, very efficient solution that you could fit in very easily with having it be like a major investment or a major element of your space.
Well, this came up recently in my life, Gretch, because Adam and I wanted to start walking the dogs at night, and light is an issue. You know, it's very dark in our neighborhood. And yes, we have a million flashlights, but you have to hold the flashlights and it's never enough light, et cetera, et cetera. So he found, again, not knowing there is a solution to this problem, Adam looked up what to do, and he ended up getting these little clip-on flashlights for Daisy and Nacho's harnesses that we put on when we walk at night. And so they're lit up as they walk. They can see in front of them. And then we also have clip-on lights for like our jacket. So we have 4 flashlights, no hands. And it's changed our experience of walking the dogs at night.
Oh, that's great. You made it sound so helpful. I ordered some too. I haven't seen them yet, but I'm excited by that. But also the thing is, we've been just talking about things that you buy. And sometimes buying something can really make life a lot easier. But it's not necessarily something you buy. Sometimes it's just saying like, you're just searching for a solution when you might have in the past just sort of accepted this is the situation. I have to make the best of the situation instead of saying, is there a different solution for this problem? And Elizabeth, in this regard, I think of you having this breakthrough with your video setup, which is something that has annoyed you for years.
Yes, which was realizing that I could just have a card table set up in front of my desk and I could spin my chair so that instead of having a door as my background, I have all my photos and sort of desk trinkets and books as a background. And it has changed my life because it did bother me every single time I was on Zoom. It bothered me. Now it's completely solved.
It's like doing a Zoom from a hotel room and you're like, I don't want to have a bed in the background, but you just can't get it out.
Yeah.
If there's a door there, you can't cover it up.
Yeah.
So that was so satisfying. And that wasn't a matter of buying something. You already had the card table. You just hadn't searched for the solution, which is, what's a different way to solve this?
Now, Gretchen, we have been talking about this in the practical way, but one could spend time and think about this in the more transcendent way of what is the solution if you have constant conflict with someone over something.
Sure.
What is the solution? If you feel you don't have enough time with a friend, what is the solution? Not where we're going today, but it is something that also applies to human nature.
That's such an excellent point because sometimes, you're just like, well, it is what it is, but you haven't really sat down and thought, is there a solution to this problem? Because you sort of take it for granted and don't think about what a solution might be. That is an excellent, excellent point. We should probably do Search for a Solution Part 2.
Yes.
Where we really focus on things like what you're saying, like ending conflict or making time or these bigger issues. Sometimes it's fun to think about the face washing hand risks.
Yes.
And sometimes it's fun to think about how do I deepen my relationships? Both play a role in happiness. Well, let us know if you do try this at home and how searching for a solution has worked for you. Let us know what you've done, either the little thing like the clip-on flashlight or a big thing like you've solved a big transcendent question in your life. We want to hear it all. Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. Drop us an email at podcast@GretchenRubin.com, or you can always go to the show notes. This is happiercast.com/584.
Coming up, we've got a happiness hack about productivity, but first, this break. I've been trying to be more consistent about getting enough protein during the day, and I realized how hard that actually is without overthinking it. I started reaching for David bars, and they've just become part of my routine, usually in the afternoon when I need something quick that actually keeps me full. Gretch, what surprised me is the texture. It's soft, a little doughy with these crunchy bits, so it doesn't feel like a typical protein bar. My new favorite flavor is red velvet.
And nutritionally, it really stands out. 28 grams of protein, 150 calories, and 0 grams of sugar. That's a big difference for most bars. And David is now available at Walmart stores nationwide and on walmart.com, where you can try a single bar for just $2.97. It's really an easy way to hit your protein goals without adding a lot of extra calories. Don't take our word for it. Go grab one for yourself. Head to Walmart today to try a bar or stock up on 4 counts of your favorite flavors, like blueberry pie and salted peanut butter, sold exclusively at Walmart. Check out walmart.com to find a store near you.
If you've ever felt stuck trying to lose weight, you are not alone. There's so much advice out there, and it's hard to know what actually works. And even when something does work, keeping it off can be just as frustrating. That's why Weight Loss by Hers now offers access to FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, you can lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps regulate your appetite so you can eat less and keep weight off.
And everything is online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if it's right for you, and if prescribed, it's delivered right to your door. If you're ready to reach your goals, visit forhers.com/happier to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/happier. forhers.com/happier. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
Hey, it's Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Wiser Than Me, etc. Just popping in with a little reality check. Food waste shouldn't exist. There is no reason that our leftovers should end up in a landfill, but that's the final destination for about a third of the food we grow. God, our ancestors would be confused. They use their food scraps as compost, or as animal feed, or in weird soups, all the stuff we did before garbage was invented. But composting is hard work. Living with a bucket of rotten food on your counter is gross. Most food goes in the trash because it's easy, and these days we'll take any easy we can get. But now there's something easier. Drop your scraps in a mill food recycler. It looks like a kitchen bin and an iPhone had a baby. It takes nearly anything, even meat and bones. It works automatically. You can keep filling it for weeks, and it never smells. When you finally empty it, you've got these nutrient-rich grounds. Use them in your garden, pour them in your green bin, or have Mill get them to a small farm so the food you don't eat can help grow the food you do, just like it should be. It's why I own a mill, why I invest in Mill, and why I'm still obsessed with my mill. If you want to get obsessed too, go to mill.com/wiser to get $75 off. That's mill.com/wiser for $75 off.
Okay, Gretch, we're back with this week's happiness hack.
Yes, and this comes from Shelby, and she makes reference to her tendency. She's a questioner. And of course, if you don't know what we're talking about, you can take the quiz and learn all about the 4 tendencies at gretchenrubin.com/quiz. But this doesn't really depend on being a questioner. It could work for all the tendencies. So Shelby says, I'm a questioner and an author, and sometimes I struggle to write under deadlines I set for myself because they are often arbitrary and easily moved. Okay, side note for me, that is a big thing with questioners. Anything that seems arbitrary is an issue for them. Okay. So I can find a myriad of reasons why I don't have to complete a task today, and it can be relocated to tomorrow or even next week. Lately, I've been leaving my house to write. I recently got into the habit of leaving my charger at home because something I should have realized sooner, my laptop eventually dies without it. My fear of being in the middle of a chapter and having my laptop power down is so strong that I find it easy to stay focused on my goal. In a strange way, I use my laptop's limitations to assist my work. Normally, I know I have a good 3 to 6 hours before I need to plug my laptop into its charger, so tasks I normally would have put off for days or even weeks must get done today because, I'm running out of power. Watching the battery percentage count down reminds me that I need to keep plodding ahead or risk losing my progress and momentum. Working with this looming unknown deadline helps me to stick to my goals and get things done because I can't predict exactly when my laptop is going to shut down. I just know that it's getting closer and closer to powering off the longer I use it. I literally have no time to dilly-dally. I love that.
Yes, she can't play solitaire for an hour and waste that battery power. She's got to stay focused.
And it just happens. It just shuts off. That's just a consequence. There's no argument. There's no negotiation. It's just like that happens. So I love that.
All right, Gretch, next, this week we have a bonus Try This at Home, which I'm very excited about because it's about our Move 26 challenge.
Yes, this is sponsored by Lululemon, a company we both love. And this year, we are challenging ourselves and listeners to move 26 minutes a day in 2026. And move can be whatever you want. You can run, you can walk, stretch, clear clutter, walk your dog, do yoga, whatever movement works for you. So many people have joined in with us to Move 26. And as part of Move 26, to help everybody stay active with this aim, we want to share some suggestions. Like here in New York City, it's springtime, so this is a great time to move. So the Try This at Home suggestion is to park a 10-minute walk away from your destination, from your workplace or wherever you're going, so that you have that 10-minute walk to get where you're going. Or if you're taking the subway or a bus, get off 1 or 2 stops early. And that way you get some movement. You're also out in the nice sunshine, just as part of your ordinary routine. You've just built it into the routine. And that movement and that light are great for mood, energy, memory, creativity. It's so good for us. But the thing is, if you're going to do that, it really helps to dress for it.
Yes. I think sometimes we don't want to add that kind of movement to our day because we don't want to look sporty in a professional setting. It's this whole, what are we wearing? We want to be comfortable, but we want to look professional.
Yeah. So the Lululemon Easy 5 pants is great for this because they look like high-end trousers, but they feel like performance gear. So you're ready to move and then you're ready to work. And this is part of the strategy of convenience. And we talk about the strategy of convenience all the time because it's one of the most powerful habit-shaping strategies. The more convenient something is, the more likely we are to do it. The research is clear that making something convenient is going to really make a difference in how likely we are to follow through.
Yes. For instance, Gretchen, when I got back into my treadmill desk for Move 26 and 26, I realized that if I could just wear my slip-ons on the treadmill desk, I'm way more likely to use it than if I feel like I have to stop and put on running shoes.
Right.
Just because it's more convenient. So I just took that element away because I'm walking slow anyway. It doesn't matter if I have on my slip-ons.
And it's so funny what a difference it makes.
Huge difference.
You think, how hard is it to change your shoes? And you're like, well, hard enough that it keeps me off the treadmill.
But like back to these Lululemon Easy 5 pants, Gretchen, I have them in light ivory, which you know is my signature color.
Yes.
I have the low rise classic wide leg. And they're perfect to wear like to a lunch. Like I go to a lot of, lunches with other writers or executives, and they look nice enough for me to wear to a professional lunch. But again, they're comfortable.
Right. Well, and the thing is, they remove that whole extra step of feeling like you have to change from one thing.
Yes.
Yeah, from one thing to another and like worry about what you're going to wear. And for me here in New York, in the spring when the weather is so good, if I have a lunch meeting or something like that, I would much rather walk to it if I can rather than take the subway. I'm fine to walk a couple of miles. And so these pants make it so comfortable to do it. And then I really feel like I'm dressed appropriately when I show up. Also, what I love is there's no stiff break-in period because, sometimes you sort of have to break in pants, and these are comfortable from the first moment you put them on. They're like my favorite pants.
Yes, you are not compromising on comfort. And Gretchen, we have talked many times on this podcast. We like to be comfortable.
We're all about the comfort. Okay, and here's a second try this at home. Do a walk and talk. I love a walk and talk. So if you have an internal meeting or a phone call that you need to take, instead of sitting for that, go outside and walk and talk. You're getting that movement in, you're getting that light in your face. It's good for our creativity. But again, you don't want it to be like a whole big transition. You want to be able to just like get out of your chair, get on your call and go.
Yes. I think a lot of us associate movement with sweat or like changing into our gym clothes.
Yeah.
Both of which are very inconvenient, especially at work. But with these Easy 5 pants, you're just ready to go. And they breathe like workout gear.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing you need to know. Lululemon does limited color runs. So when those new styles drop every Tuesday, they go fast. And you don't want to wait. And if it's not for you, Lululemon offers free returns, no risk. That's lululemon.com. New drops every Tuesday. Go now.
Okay, Gretchen, it is time for a happiness stumbling block.
Okay, so this is a stumbling block that for most of us doesn't happen to us very often in our lives, but it's very significant when it happens, which is you've moved someplace new. So you're not just like in a hotel room for a night, but you've actually moved to someplace new. And it takes a while to feel comfortable. You just feel ill at ease when you're in a new place. I always like when there's sort of a rule or where an expert is like, oh, this is a thing. So I had read a Wall Street Journal article a while back called, Has Your Dream Renovation Become a Nightmare? Maybe you need a house therapist. Okay, so this is a thing. Some people are house therapists. And a house therapist named Joseph R. Lee said, it takes 6 to 9 months of living in a new place for the psyche to begin thinking of it as home. And to me, I thought, well, it's kind of nice if you were moving to a new place to say, well, I'm really not going to expect myself to feel settled in for a while. It's not surprising if I don't really feel like this is home for several months. I think sometimes it's reassuring just to be prepared for the fact that it might take time and it might be uncomfortable.
Yes, it's always easier when you know that what you're feeling is just a normal course of events and not something specific to you. So I think that's very helpful.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when we move, we think, oh, this is going to be so great. I'm going to be like filled with joy and excitement. And then when you're not, you think, what's wrong with me? Or like maybe I made the wrong decision. And people who deal with people going through this all the time see a pattern. You're part of that pattern. I think it's very reassuring.
Yes. And it's a physical feeling. I mean, I can remember it clearly several times in my life, having that deeply physical feeling of unease in a new place.
Yeah. It's kind of related to homesickness, but it's kind of different too. Yeah. It's a tough feeling. It's an uncomfortable feeling.
All right, Gretch, coming up, I give myself a demerit related to my son, Jack. But first, this break.
Hey there, it's Gretchen and Elizabeth. Before this podcast continues, we'll need you to fill out 37 forms about your listening history. We'll wait. Just kidding. That would be ridiculous. Yet we all do it every time we need health care.
But new Amazon Health AI is different. It can connect your health history to offer personalized care so you can get help fast. Amazon Health AI. Healthcare just got less painful.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
Why did I search the internet for answers to my cold sore problem? Now I'm stuck down a rabbit hole filled with images of alarmingly graphic sores in various stages of ooze. I can clear my search history, but I can never unsee that.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. Amazon Health AI gets you the right care fast. Healthcare just got less painful.
This message comes from Harvard Business School Executive Education. Now is the time to invest in yourself and change the world with your voice. Our programs connect you with faculty at the forefront of their fields, introduce you to a global network of leaders, and help you step into your full potential. The next chapter is yours. Let us help you write it. Apply today to accelerate your future. Learn more at hbs.me/accelerate. That's hbs.me/accelerate. Okay, Elizabeth, it's time for Demerits and Gold Stars. And this is an even-numbered episode, and that means it's your turn to talk about a demerit.
Okay, Gretch. Well, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but Jack turned 16 this year.
Unbelievable.
And obviously what comes with that is a driver's license. And I have just not done a good job of getting that on track. So he is not the kid who was like, at the front door saying, let's go take my driver's test. But there's a process we have to go through. We are partway through the process, but then I stalled out on kind of nudging him along, and he has done a little bit of driving practice, but he needs to do, so much more. Let's just say we've barely broken the surface. So there's a long way to go until he can actually get his license, and he's already 16. So I'm saying this partly just to remind myself, as we do, and put it out there that I need to get back on the driving train. I want to make sure that all of this is basically done by the time summer is over, so that he's ready to get his license as soon as this 6-month waiting period is over that they have in California once you get your written test passed. So it's a process.
It is a long process. And I will say this, probably many listeners will be like, this is bonkers. I cannot believe it. So my daughter, Eleanor, at age 20, got hers, and we were all so excited. It felt like this insurmountable goal. Oh my gosh, we were all so blown away. Eliza, my older daughter, still does not have hers. She's perfectly good at driving. She knows how to drive, but she failed a couple of times. But the thing is, it's really complicated. And then one time, she'd waited too long to take the test, so then this thing had expired, so she had to do this thing again. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of moving parts. Things expire.
It's also proving your address, which he doesn't get a lot of mail because he's 16. So
Right.
I'm sort of need to look into that.
Yeah. No, and it feels like the driving, as hard as it is to drive, it's in a way the driving is not the hard part.
Right.
And it's like pushing a rope because it's all super boring and complicated. They don't want to do it. You don't want to badger them. It's a thing. So I think if a kid is one of those kids who, like you say, is just like, hand me the car keys, then they're driving the process. But if you're, I've only done 1 out of 2 kids, and with Eliza, I'm like, over to you. You know how to drive. When you need it, you'll deal with it. So I hope she does, because I do feel like it's an important thing. I always vowed as a Midwesterner, even though, Elizabeth, you and I really do not like to drive at all, I always said, I'm not going to be one of those parents whose kids don't have driver's license, and then cut to 100% I am.
Yes. The funny thing is, you're in New York where you really don't need a car, whereas I'm in LA where you really do need to drive. We're going vast distances. So
yes,
I get it for the New Yorkers. But anyway, I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
Gretchen, what is your gold star this week?
Well, I want to give a gold star to bookstore employees, because I love going into an independent bookstore. People are always so helpful. I have heard people say something like, I want this book and it's really popular and it's kind of like light colors and there's 2 birds on the front. And they're like, oh, you mean the correspondent or whatever. Like, they're really good at reading your mind. But I especially want to thank the people who write shelf talkers. So if you don't know, I love this term. A shelf talker is, when you're walking around a bookstore and there's little commentary on particular books, often handwritten, and it'll often be like, Haley says, or whatever. And they'll do a little description of why they personally have recommended this book. I always read Shelf Talkers. I often buy books because of Shelf Talkers. I've even gone to bookstores where I'll walk around and I'm like, wow, I really like Haley's taste. Like what, because I'll see that I've read like a couple books that she recommends. And I'm like, well, what are the other ones that she recommends? Because clearly like we have the same taste in books. And I'm sure it's a lot of work to do that. And it's a lot of work to work in a bookstore. But as somebody who loves to read, it's like a haven for me. I always know if I walk into a bookstore, I'm going to have a great experience. I'm going to be so happy. The people are going to be helpful. So I appreciate it. And for all the people who write these insightful, interesting, compelling shelf talkers, well done. I really appreciate you.
I never knew that phrase, shelf talker. I love it.
Isn't it fun? Yeah.
So fun.
The resource for this week. As I said, I just released a brand new YouTube video with my friend, Cass Arson, also known as Clutterbug. This was a super fun project that we did together. We did a 3-day organization makeover. Someone here in New York City named Chloe, and we gave Chloe recommendations for keeping her kids' space clear of clutter, keeping kids' clutter out of adult space, how to use my 4 tendencies framework and the Clutterbug framework together to figure out like how to create order and then how to maintain order. Cass and I had so much fun together. We just talked the whole time about outer order and her framework and my framework and how they work together. It was so much fun. So you can watch the YouTube video and you can see the big reveal. I love nothing more than a before and after. You can find all that at happiercast.com/clutter. It was the most fun.
Yes, I can imagine you two going to town. I have to watch the videos.
Yes, yes. If anything, Cass is even more of a happiness bully in this area than I am. So we had a lot of fun. And now, what are we reading? Elizabeth, what are you reading?
I just finished Fame Sick by Lena Dunham.
And I am reading Someone at a Distance by Dorothy Whipple. And that's it for this episode of Happier. Remember to try this at home. Search for a solution. One may exist. Let us know if you tried it and if it worked for you.
Thanks to our executive producer, Chuck Reed, and everyone at Lemonada.
And here's your rhyming reminder. If the show brightens your day, send others this way.
Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Kraft.
And I'm Gretchen Rubin. Thanks for joining us. Onward and upward. What do Daisy and Nacho think of all of a sudden they have projecting light? Do they just take it for granted or are they puzzled? What do they think?
Well, they seem to love it. I don't know if that's just our perception, but we feel like they love it.
You would think they would. It's good to be able to see where you're going.
And they're so cute bopping along with their little lights.